Our Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor is a classic breakout system which trades gold. Right now, we're giving it away to anybody for free to be able to experience our product offering. In this short video, I want to show you guys how it works, what the strategy behind it is, and you can then decide if it might be helpful for your trading. So the Golden Time Bomb, as mentioned, trades gold based on time. And specifically what it does is it trades the London breakout and the New York opening range breakout. And I'll run a visual back test in a couple seconds so you guys can see specifically what exactly it does. But before I do that, I want to first show you this equity curve, which is a 1-year back test showing roughly a 52% return with only a 6.4% drawdown. And here we're risking around 1% or exactly 1% per trade twice a day. So it's really a great, very straightforward system, and you're able to control your risk really well because you know I'm only making 2 trades a day, and for each trade I can risk 1%, or you can scale the risk to your liking, but it makes it very easy to control the risk, and that's why this type of system works really well on prop firms. So before doing the visual backtest and showing you exactly how it works, I want to just walk you through some of the input settings. As mentioned, it trades the London breakout and the opening range breakout, which is the New York breakout. And specifically here, you'll be able to define what those times for the London breakout are. So here it executes at, this is around 8 a.m. London time, and keep in mind that these times correspond to the standard platform time. So that 8 a.m. London time corresponds to the London market open, which also so happens to be the Frankfurt open. And the premise and the strategy here is that because gold tends to correlate volume-wise with large equity markets, when these markets open and there's a surge in volume, gold also has a surge in volume. And this makes it really a great time to trade a breakout system because that surge in volume created by additional order flow quite often causes a push, which will push you through your bidirectional collar orders. So buy stop, sell stop. It will trigger one of the orders, and then you can take a quick profit using a trailing stop loss. So here is our London order times, here are our New York order times, and these also have expiration hours where the London orders should expire before the New York session, and the New York orders will expire before the volume starts to get lower in the day and more the American hours. So here, the New York hours corresponds to 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's when, generally speaking, always U.S. equity markets open. And here you can choose either a percentage balance risk per trade or a fixed volume, but that's relatively straightforward. So what's really important here are the trade exits. So exits are often neglected. They're like the ugly stepchild of trading. Everybody cares about the perfect entry into a system, but in reality, your exit is half your trade. And many traders would argue that how you get out of the position is actually more important than how you get in. With that in mind, I really wanted to give people a couple different options. A percentage of price option is a very straightforward option where you simply use a percentage move. So effectively, stop loss percent, you set a stop loss at 0.2% from where your entry price was, and you would start the trailing stop loss at 0.05% and trail it by 0.1% when you go into profit. Another great option is actually the range-based exit. So here we essentially use the size of the range to determine our stop loss, to determine when we start trailing, and to determine by how much we actually trail by. So here the range stop percent buffer, it simply takes the range, so the high of the session, of the previous session, and the low of the previous session, or the pre-market hours. And if we say a 50% range buffer, it means that we'll only use 50% of the range as our stop loss. And then for the start trail, we'll take that range size, which is whatever the high and the low of this time period was, and we will take that and multiply it by 30%, and whatever that value is when we will start activating the trailing stop loss. And this is really a great method because it makes it very dynamic to the current market volatility. As I make this video, we've been having insane moves in gold driven by the fact that tariffs have been starting to go on worldwide. And this has caused absolutely massive volatility in markets. And this method has adapted the system extremely well to that, which makes it a bit more dynamic than the percentage of price method. You also have the option of a time-based close, but I personally find that it generally does worse with that. And max spreads, and you can also choose to trade just London, just New York, only longs, only shorts, but this is really based on your personal preferences. And then the final thing here is a filter. You can turn it on if you are close to a support or resistance level. It will block out trades. Now to run a visual backtest, you guys can see that I've opened up the strategy tester, and I will just run this to show you how it works. So as you can see, it's defining the London session range, and this is from 1 a.m. to the 9:50 candle. It will then place a buy stop and a sell stop order. And here was an example where the London orders were actually canceled prior to the New York session. And the New York session happened. It also defined a range between 8 a.m. and 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It placed a buy stop and a sell stop, and the order would have been triggered, and it should have trailed here, but there tends to be a bit of a lag in the MT5 strategy tester. So I will just fast forward a bit. But if we go back here, you can now see that it did trail. So it opened, it entered with a trailing stop loss and captured a quick profit. And here it was around 0.55R. And then here we have another example where this is a London breakout, and this is using the trail-based method, and it took profit. We can keep going. Maybe we'll see a loss in a couple seconds, and lo and behold, New York session, win. And I just randomly picked some dates too, so I'm not cherry picking this for you guys. But you see essentially the premise here, right? It's a breakout system. It's defining a range based on time. And once that range is pierced, it scalps some profits. And same thing here. So essentially, that's our Golden Time Bomb Expert Advisor. Click the link in the description to download it, set it up, and join our Telegram if you have any questions about how it works. Take care and enjoy trading.